Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome once again to my sporadic videos from Tonopah. First of all, I want to lead off by saying that I hope all of you are comfortable, warm, not freezing to death because certain people decided that it was more important to feel good about where their energy was coming from as opposed to, I don't know, shoveling some more coal into the boilers, leaving some reactors open a little longer than originally planned. You know, useful stuff like that as opposed to bird choppers and solar panels. Anyways, right now it's 36 degrees here in Tonopah, which is kind of nice. It's not cold enough where I have to put on my busman's jacket or the newly acquired Ushanka. Um, and in fact, this whole last week before Christmas has been very nice. It's been getting up to about 50 degrees in the afternoons, and well, I don't much care what it's gotten down to at night because I haven't been getting out much at night. So it goes. Um, I'm in pretty good health. This being the Christmas season, and me being a little less careful about the carbs than I probably should have been. Um, the daily blood sugars have been up, mostly nominal, occasionally horrific. Um, but I don't expect to see any huge changes in the A1C as we get into tax season and start being a little more diligent about what goes in the pie hole. Um, this year, as I did last Thanksgiving, I went across the street to the Rayleighs and plunked down about $90 for a turkey dinner, which all I had to do was throw the turkey in the oven for about an hour and a half, throw the side dishes in for about an hour, and microwave the green beans for about 10 minutes. And it all turned out really nicely, and I have a ton of leftovers, which I'm going to be nibbling away at over the next week until I can't stand the sight of turkey anymore, which could take a while. Um, Aside from that, the weight, of course, has gone up, um, but again, I'm not too concerned about that. Once tax season starts, I'm probably going to be too busy to do to just sit around the house and stuff things in my face. So yeah, it is what it is. Um, Hopefully, all of you have gotten the Christmas cards that I sent. Well, all of you that I sent cards to. Andrea, I apologize. For no good reason, I completely forgot to send you one of the cards that I sent out this year. So I'm going to make it up to you, send a New Year's card, and put you down on the list for next year when I will get started earlier on the cards and hopefully get them to people well before Christmas. This is the intent. This is the plan. We'll see how the reality matches up next year. Um, Christmas itself pretty understated. Um, I basically stayed in, read the story of the Nativity from the Book of Matthew, or the Gospel according to Matthew, rather, because um, well, it turned out there were actually two Christmas masses here in town. There was an 8 o'clock Christmas Eve service in the evening and the usual 9 o'clock. But since I wasn't sure about either one of them, which is to say I didn't actually find out when they were until I picked up the town paper today. Um, I missed it again. So one of these days when I actually get to a church and have my confession heard, I'm going to have to add that to the list of things I've screwed up over the last few years. Anyhow, as I mentioned, tax season's coming up. I just barely finished my continuing education and my skills to win training under the wire. I still have one virtual class to log into in early in the second week of January because that's the first slot I could get for it. I will say this: I normally hate virtual classes because they're full of mouth-breathing retards who can't mute their mics while the dogs, kids, are going crazy in the background, and they're eating pretzels or potato chips or something into the microphone. It just drives me nuts. I hate it. Um, on top of that, most of the instructors I've had before this year were the kind of people that would stand there and read every word off the PowerPoint presentation, which just makes me want to gouge my eyes out. I had an entire semester long class of business accounting at Nova where that was like that, and yeah, I must have done something right in the meantime so that I haven't had to put up with that again. But it was horrible. Anyway, the instructor for the familiarization class on spruce, which I really can't talk about because I'm not a media relations guy with corporate. If you want to know about it, you can look it up. Um, or if you want to know the details about it, you can look it up. It's basically a phone app um, which does a number of things that the Emerald card does, in addition to some other things that the Emerald card didn't do. And it looks nifty, but I have several apps that do what Spruce does already, and and I'm running out of direct deposits to apply to my various banking apps as it is. So I think I'm going to take a pass on Spruce. But you should look at it if you deal with H&R Block. There's some interesting perks that make it that might make it worth your while if you need that sort of thing. Um, Aside from that, I'm wasting a lot of my time playing Civicrack, Civilization 5, and avoiding. Here it is. Avoiding starting on this. Um, 17 Moments of Spring, which some people who really ought to know better call the Russian James Bond, which is completely inaccurate. Um, Russians in general aren't big on the action hero kind of thing. Um, their tastes run more towards Sherlock Holmes and Nero Wolfe kind of heroes than guys like Tony Stark who have a brain but aren't afraid to punch a few people in the face. Um, this particular TV series was a very big hit in the Soviet Union. Uh, so much so that crime would literally drop when it was on the air. Everyone would go inside and watch the show, um, which was about a deep cover Soviet agent who was working in the intelligence branch of the SS. The series is set in the spring of 1945, which are the 17 moments of spring that the title refers to. And it's very much a battle of wits between uh, Standartenführer Stierlitz, the deep cover agent, and a lot of his comrades in the SS who are thinking there's something off about von Stierlitz, but we can't put our finger on it. Anyhow, I watched the first episode when I should have been doing my CE, and it's it's a very it's first of all it's black and white, which is no big deal. I mean, there's been a lot of great video and a lot of great movies shot in black and white, but it strikes me as very much a relic of the 1960s. Um, not just um, not just with the Cold War attitudes that are on display during so much of the show. But a lot of the a lot of the storytelling is very different in a way that's hard to comprehend if you haven't watched a lot of TV from the 50s and 60s. Um, there's a lot of narrative and voiceover as opposed to just having people talk. For example, there's a big scene in the Fuhrer bunker to, um, in like the second act of the first episode, and instead of just hearing Hitler speak to his generals and party leaders, we get a narration, a voiceover telling us what he's saying. And it couldn't have been that hard in the Soviet Union in the late 60s, early 70s to find people who could speak German, even if they weren't KGB agents or something. Um, but hey, that's the way the Gorky Film Studios did it. It worked. It was immensely popular. Um, it had quite an impact on Soviet and post-Russian society because one of the guys who was a big fan of 17 Moments of Spring is a guy you might have heard of called Vladimir Putin, who at the time was a field-grade KGB officer in Germany. He has publicly acknowledged that the show was a big influence on him and a lot of his fellow KGB agents, um, to such an extent that when the lead actor who plays von Stierlitz, um, Vyacheslav Tikhonov, had to look it up. I don't have all this stuff memorized yet. When he died, the FSB, which was the successor service to the KGB, sent condolences to his family. Um, so yeah, big deal over there, and pretty much unheard of here in the West. In fact, the only reason I heard of it was because I was producing the section on Russian jokes in Infogalactic, and I came across a bunch of jokes, von Stierlitz jokes, and a typical von Stierlitz joke is when Stierlitz is out walking in the forests of Berlin, and he notices smoke in the distance over the city. And von Stierlitz curses to himself, "Damn it, forgot to unplug the iron again." So, yeah, um, maybe you had to be there. Anyhow, yeah, I'm hoping to wrap this up before the new year, but I may have a bit of a problem with that. I've noticed in recent years is accurate. I've had a hard time sitting down and watching movies or TV shows at home. Um, I get very easily distracted in a way I don't want to in the movie theater, and usually I'm good for about 10 minutes, and then I'll just get bored and go do something else. And this is also true of YouTube videos. Um, I can barely make it. I'm a big fan of Bridget Fettisy's Dumpster Fire. It's funny. Um, she's funny, and it's a good show to watch, but it's an hour long, an hour, and I'll be honest with you. I would rather be playing a video game which is interactive and actually has me mentally engaged rather than sit back, veg out, and watch that or a live stream by Shoe on Head, who I also enjoy. But you know, if it's much more than 10 minutes, there goes my attention span, and I just turn it off, um, which probably explains why just about the only videos I'm watching these days on YouTube are The very short 5-10 minute clips from Shoe on Head that she's been posting lately, in view of her longer Hell World pieces. Um, Razor Fist, I like. He seems to be able to get the idea across in 10 minute in a 10 minute show. Everybody else, no. I'm not. I'm not sitting there and watching Sargon of Akkad go on for an hour about whatever. No. Um, which probably explains why most of this $50 worth of anime I got a couple of years ago from Right Stuff is still sitting. Well, it's kind of all over the living room. The original pile got scattered. Um, I've watched maybe 2 discs out of the 10 shows that I bought, and it's not that I wasn't interested in it. I mean, I was very intrigued by the story behind Prisma Ilia, which is an offshoot of Fate Grand Order. Well, Fate Stay Night, I should say. Fate Grand Order is the game. Um, but just couldn't sit there for the 20 minutes, half an hour it took to get through each episode. So I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ADD in my old age or something, or I'm drinking too much caffeine or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's a minor irritation in life, and it's nothing I can't deal with. I mentioned tax season earlier. Um, got an email from my office manager today thanking me for having finished my Skills to Win training on time, and announcing that the offices will be open after New Year's. Um, Minimally staffed because God knows we don't get a lot of people early in the year bringing us their stuff. Most of the people that do get their taxes done this early in the year are people who work for a company that has its act together and gets the W-2s out right like that at the beginning of the year, um, which includes active duty military. DFAS is always, Johnny on the spot with that. Um, Although this year, since Congress waited until the last damn minute to pass the funding bill, that may be different this year. Anyway, not really my problem. Um, I'm going to log in, check my email once a day, see if there's anything to be pulled down from the fulfillment network, which corporate is expecting great things from this year. Um, we'll see. Um, I expect to be reasonably busy this season, even though I'm not going to be working online assist. Thank God. I mean, that was $20 an hour at a time when I kind of needed $20 an hour. But now that my draw is 27 bucks an hour, with more than double what I was drawing last year, um, I expect that I'm not going to need the money from it, and it's definitely a major headache. So I am glad not to be doing that part of it again this year. I'm perfectly happy to sit home and do virtual returns until February, when I expect Dan's going to get on the phone, shoot me an email saying, "Hey, can you come up to DeMonte Ranch for a few weeks?" And I'll be like, "Hell yeah!" So so yeah, I am looking forward to that. I I don't know if I said this in any of the earlier videos, but I really liked Reno. It's a very very different feel from Vegas. Um, Fewer crazy people, uh, less craziness in general. And while it is a pain in the ass driving up there, hey, at least they're not requiring me to drive up every week. stay for a few days and go home and then not pay my hotel bill, which, well, it's a major reason I'm working for Reno and not Vegas. Okay, I see I've blathered on for about 20 minutes here. Um, if if you want a Christmas card next year, or you just want me to write you a letter that isn't email, drop me a line. You know where to find me. Wombatsocho at gmail.com. If you send it to ktrainer59 at gmail.com, it's probably going to get lost in all the bills, surveys, political solicitations, and God knows what all winds up in that box. Um, so that having been said, thanks for watching, and we'll do this again probably a little later in tax season. Talk to you then.